Hey guys, this is Jenna with Hill Valley Farm, and today I wanted to go over some things that we're doing on the farm and with the animals. So today I went ahead and pulled the hairs from the bucks for DNA testing. Excuse recall behind me. Elf one's in heat. And I pulled the hairs, and what you're supposed to do is pull the long hairs around their withers and shoulders, and get the bulbs on the hairs for the DNA sample when you're doing a hair sample. For Archimedes, we're obviously doing parent topping, and then for Golden, DeLorean, and Legend, we're doing individual typing. We've already individually typed Recall. That was a couple years ago, and so we're sending these off to UC Davis. I've always liked to have DNA on my bucks. That's just how what I've always done. I didn't last year because I wasn't AGA Plus member. Now I'm an AGA Plus member because we did DHIA and LA, and so you get a few free DNA samples, or not free, but much discounted DNA samples kit. Plus, I just tacked on Archimedes because I just wanted to do a parent top. He's already been DNA'd by his breeder, and that was very helpful. So if you're a breeder out there, thank you for DNA testing your kids when they leave your farm. We don't currently do that because it's just really expensive, but it might be something that we start looking into because it's just an important thing, because you want to know you're getting who you're getting, you know. So we hand breed. I don't ever have to wonder, you know, who is she bred to, because I literally hand breed. They are never loose with the boys, ever. So, and fortunately, things, you know, they've not gotten out. I know it's a possibility. So again, that's why I like to have DNA on file, just in case. You never know. So we did that today on the boys in the background. There's Legend. Legend is not happy with me at all. He gets his feelings hurt when I go pulling his hair or give him a shot or something. He gets his feelings hurt. He's a sensitive guy. So he is very much in rut. So, but as you can see behind me, their little house is so incredibly cute and cozy, and it's a really perfect size for the amount of bucks that we have. But we have a very, very invasive weed in our field, in the doe field and in the buck field. And so we're wanting to build on more what they call paddocks, and but this will also allow us to rotationally graze a little bit more in a bigger aspect than we ever have. We've never been able to rotationally graze our boys, but we have our does, but the little field is just too little for the amount of does that we have right now, and I'm not willing to back off of that. So we will build on to that field in front of the barn, like between the barn and the house, and then on the other side. And that should be really good for us, and in the way that we're going to do it, just futuristically speaking. So it's going to be a really great thing. It is costly, but in the end it's worth it, because our herd was actually hit by barber pole. And by that I will finish by talking about Irma. So let's go over here where Irma is. So as you can see, the field over here is really dead, and it's mainly because, well, we haven't had much rain lately, but this is a very, very invasive weed, this right here, and it has come over into our field. Hi, May. It has come over into the field, and it pretty much is the entire field. Like, that's what it is. It's crept over into the buck area, and it's crept over into where you see the brown it's in my yard. Then you see the field over here. It has actually not reached the pasture over there where the new fence will go. It also isn't where the other field is going to go. So our plan is I don't like spraying, but I'm going to have to get rid of this weed. and allow us to have get our clover and grasses back in our fields. So it's one thing I really learned at convention, and the percentages and how to do that. So I'm really excited to bring that back here and work on that and implement it on the farm here. So we talk about rotationally graze. A big part of that is because we got hit for the first time ever with barber pole in our herd. We've always dealt with coccidia just because it's a low-lying valley. It doesn't matter what we do, it's here, you know. When it's wet and not super hot or dry, it's here. So this is Irma. If you've been following me on Facebook at all, you'll know that Irma actually got hit really, really, really hard with barber pole. It was to the point where there was one night I really thought we were losing her. She was so anemic, and you know, and you can see she's very skinny. She's actually looking better than she did. She's stopped losing weight, and now she's gaining. And so she has started gaining her weight back. And this is she's a 75-pound doe normally, guys. So that's what barber pole did to her. It just completely wiped her out. She typically looks about like Alice does here, and the rest of the herd looks like Alice. It also hit our buckling pen where we kept our little bucklings, and we sadly lost one of our bucklings. It was actually Sweet Faylene's son. And here's Betty next to her. It was her brother. We have the other son. He was the one we were planning to retain, and we have him. But it was the one that Caden was selling, and he was wanting, him to really get our herd name out there in the way of a herd sire, and he hadn't sold yet, and it hit our pen, and I couldn't save him. So it was a really hard thing. Barber pole is obviously a parasite, and goats have parasites. It's just what they do. They have a normal load, and then they can get overloaded during times of stress, a lot of rain, temp swings, also illness. So her son had a respiratory thing going on, and I was busy treating the respiratory infection, and little did I know he was starting to get overloaded with barber pole, and I just didn't catch it in time. Irma was basically the same way. She got the same respiratory illness because it was of the temp swings. She got the respiratory illness, and then she just got completely overloaded with barber pole. Our first treatment did not work. It was only until I spoke to a fellow goat breeder that had been dealing with this a lot this year with barber pole. She told me what to use, and it got rid of them. So Irma is 9 years old. She had been completely pushed this year in her lactation because I wanted to show off what she could do. But in the end, she ended up drying up herself. And it's okay. It's fine. She's a lot healthier now. She eats now. She's not 100%, but she is a lot better. She has a really nice pink FAMACHA now, and her gums in her mouth are a lot pinker. Before, they were stark white. I even had the vet out. We ran all the tests, blood work. I actually thought she might even have cancer. But come to find out, no, it was just barber pole hanging on. It was a resistant strand to what we had used before, which is scary because since we've never had barber pole, why would the thing that I used to treat them not work? And that is just because a lot of people, I think, overworm their small ruminants. We don't worm on a schedule, we check on a schedule. You don't just worm once a year or before they go to their new homes or anything like that. They have to be symptomatic or have an overload in order for you to worm them, is the rule. And so it was just really a stressful thing, but we are so grateful that Irma, she's pulled through, and she's just doing better and better every single day. Will she be able to breed? Again, I don't know. I mean, she's 9 years old, and she's actually, she's done her job here. She's actually done a really good job, because, I mean, we have Lila, who is right there and behind Dicey there. And then we have Sky laying with her daughter Thistle. So I've got, actually, and Mayflower is her dam, wherever she went. Where did May go? There's May. So that's 4 generations. 5 generations that I have here. And it all came from May and Irma. And so she's done her job much like May. So if she doesn't get back to 100% like she was, that's okay. We'll just be all right, and she can just live a retirement life and not worry about it. But she's been super lovey. She's just, she's tired, so we're giving her a big long break. And I retired Mayflower at the age of 10 just because she loves being a mother, but it's hard on them, and I just didn't want to stress her to the point where I couldn't do anything with her, or like if something were to happen and her have a hard kidding, I just didn't want to do that. So May is plump and sassy and happy, and there's no problems with her, and so we'll see how Miss Irma gets, won't we, Irma? Yes. It was a rough time. Well, I have several friends who've actually lost does that kind of like this. They hung on, but they never got their iron levels back to the way they needed them. And so they ended up putting them down. And so I had decided, if she just couldn't get back, that's what we were going to have to do. But fortunately, and you can see she's like, rub me, love me. She wasn't doing this at all when she was ill. So that is the skinny on really dumb parasites. We don't like them. And it's a big problem in small ruminant farms. Yes. She loves the rubs. Oh my gosh. So, and so does her mother. This is what she does. Rubs her head. Rubs her head. So I'm going to go over here and show you guys the second, or the idea for the second fence coming up. Yes. Isn't that right, Faylene? She knows it's about time to go to bed. So the first big change right here is going to be a fence, and it's going to jut straight across this field to the barn and then back up a little bit. The fence will be on this side of our burn pile, and then go up. And this will allow us to have a bigger spot, obviously, for kids, because that section of the barn there, where that temporary fencing is where our kid area is. And so that will actually allow us to have a bigger space for either expectant mothers, like when they're in labor, to come over and graze, or just kids. But for the rest of this fall, once we get this done, this will actually be where we put our bucks, just because I'm wanting to rotate them out of the field they're currently in. It'll give them, the barn is a much nicer spot for them in the winter anyways. They have a really nice cozy house, but it's just what I'm wanting to do for this, the rest of this fall into the winter. So here's the other side of the barn, and it's not going to be obviously this entire field, but the idea is it'll run, and excuse the piping laying around, we've got some cleanup to do. It'll run from this wall like midway and jut out 300 feet. It'll go up 100 feet and then jut back towards the barn, and then it will go up around the tree. There's an apple tree right there, and then up to the fence up there. And it'll enclose this fence and gate so that the girls can go into the barn on the back side, and that way they're not like missing, you know, their barn. So that's going to create a lot more grazing for them on this side. I wanted to kind of close it off because, number one, coyotes are known for running through this field, and I don't really like that idea. So I'm just really careful about that. But also, there's a gate up at the road, and I just want to make sure that if we need to get in or out, I'm not worried about the goats being in the field. So I wanted them to have an enclosed area here. So, and then some gates, and we can go around or go through, whatever it is we're doing at that time. So that's a little update on what we're doing around here. It's kind of slow because, you know, it's breeding season, or waiting season rather, and just changing over with the fencing and, you know, doing the necessary things before the end of the year, which is DNA. We are just so excited and thrilled with the breedings, you know, as you guys saw last video. And as soon as we do the second part of the breedings, I will let you guys know. I don't really want to do that video until we've actually bred them, because I am, well, so is everyone else that I know, world's worst for changing breeding plans. And so I don't want to announce what we're doing and then change it until it's been done. And once it's done, it's decided. So I obviously can't change it after we do that. So I'm waiting to do part 2 until after that. It is very exciting. So far as of now, there'll be 7 does in January, February, as you saw in the last video, and then 7 does for the between May 1st and 4th is the plan as of now. It could change. We'll see. But we are excited about that, and excited about the kids coming, and we can't wait to have babies on the ground again. But I hope that this was helpful and just a little bit of an update. And we're just, you know, the days are now shorter because of the time change, and so the nights are longer. So we do chores a lot earlier these days, and get everyone in their stalls and down for the night. So, well, in for the night, I should say. They don't sleep all night. They eat hay mostly all night. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to give us that thumbs up. It helps us more than you know. Definitely subscribe and hit that notification bell. Also, leave us a comment. We would like to see if, you know, what do you want to see us do, and what kind of footage would you like to see next from a dairy goat farm. So thank you so much for watching, and until we see you guys again, I hope you have an awesome goat field day. Are you guys hungry? Is that what's going on? You think it's time for dinner? Yeah. They don't like waiting on dinner. It's not their favorite thing in the world to do. They're pretty sure they're being neglected right now because I'm not feeding them. Put the camera down, lady. Isn't that right, Callie?